Welcome to another new episode of the Get Organised with Declutter Me podcast with myself, Shelina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. Whether this is your first time listening or you've been following along for a while, I'm truly delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for being part of this journey with me. It truly means so much to me. Your support allows me to continue sharing my love for decluttering and organising each week, and it's a privilege to help you create a more organised and clutter-free space. If you're enjoying the podcast, I'd love for you to spread the word. Just hit follow, subscribe, or like on your podcast app. Share it with your friends or drop me a review to let me know what you think. Today, I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about me. I don't often get personal on this podcast. I share anecdotes, but I don't dive into real talk about my life. Well, except for that one time I discussed my mental health journey and a client I was suing heard it and sent me some defamatory WhatsApp messages. But that's a story for another day. Today's topic isn't about my mental health journey. It's about something else, my shopping habits. At the start of the month, I decided to cut down on my spending, and I've been gradually implementing this change over the past few weeks. I noticed that I was spending money on things I didn't really need. Shopping weekly just to treat myself or to fulfill some sort of need. But did I really need those things? No, not always. One of the first things I decided to cut back on was my beloved Spanish lattes, the ice ones. They've been my little addiction over the last year. By the way, did you know that Spanish lattes aren't actually a thing in Spain? I found that out when I visited Barcelona. They have a coffee with condensed milk, which I can't remember the name of it. But it's definitely not a Spanish latte, like the one we're familiar with anyway. But anyway, I digress. Whenever I'd be out shopping or at the mall, I'd grab a Spanish latte, as long as it wasn't from that boycotted coffee shop, of course. The problem was they're not exactly the healthiest option, and they're over 20 dirhams, like over £4. It's an expensive habit. Some weeks I'd buy 5, and that's a lot of money on a drink that doesn't even keep me awake and adds unwanted calories onto the stomach. So at the start of the month, I began cutting back. If I really craved one, I'd get it, but I'd stopped hunting down the coffee shops or detouring through malls just for my fix. Week by week, my consumption has decreased, and last week I didn't have a single one. Yesterday I did have one, but I was with a friend. The need for it has just fizzled out. I just don't have to have that fix. And it might seem like a small change, but if you do the maths, it adds up to a few £1,000s on dirhams every year, just on a coffee. As I consciously stopped the coffee habit, I started reflecting on other purchases. Clothes, books, random knickknacks. Do I really need more clothes? Probably not. I work most days and I have plenty in my wardrobe. In fact, I was in the USA a few weeks ago and I only bought 2 tops, and that was it. That's not bad for a place where I used to go wild in the shops. And side note, I did indulge in some random food items from Target and Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is really cool. I have never been before in my life, and I went with my cousin, and I was surprised at how cool it is. They need to have Trader Joe's in other places. But anyway, I digress. As usual, I digress. But the main point was that I went to, somewhere, I went on holiday and I didn't shop. I looked at things, but I just didn't want to shop much. And that desire had started waning already. And I'm finding myself doing that more and more. I avoid going to shops altogether now. When I go to the mall, I head straight to where I need to go, which is usually a restaurant to meet friends, cinema, or the supermarket. And then I leave. It's the same with online shopping. I used to put things in my basket and wait a few days for, to decide whether I really needed the items. And I've talked about it before when we've talked about online shopping on the podcast. But now I just hardly feel the urge to buy anything at all unless it's something truly amazing. Like if I see something while I'm, searching or Googling, I'll look at it and I might buy it, but there's no desire. I don't need to buy clothes. I have enough clothes. I declutter enough clothes. I have everything, and it just seems pointless to me to have more things that I'm just not going to wear. Now, I've talked about supermarkets, so I've also started cooking more rather than ordering in. So after a long day of decluttering and organizing, which is like sometimes 8 to 10 hours, I used to be so exhausted to cook and would order from food delivery apps. The food was good, but not healthy and definitely not cheap. Now I'm trying to cook more, and I even cheat a little by buying a cooked chicken from Spinneys, and it lasts 2 to 3 days for meals like sandwiches and pasta, and it's such good value for money. And like, with my cooking, I don't cook as if I'm cooking just for one meal. I cook as if my mum was cooking, and I cook like enough portions to have, one box in the fridge to have leftovers for a few days, and then one in the freezer, which is there to defrost a few weeks later when I can't be asked to cook. And that's what I've been doing. So I can eat, say, the same chicken curry, which I love eating anyway, for 3 days. And then it'll come to the point where I'll have to cook something else. And I'm doing that more and more. I am cooking more and spending less. And I'm eating what I want to eat. I'm enjoying what I want to eat. And I'm saving money, which is always a good thing, right? I know this might sound a bit like those how I save thousands blogs, and those annoying ones that you read about or you see the videos and stuff. But it's not just about the money. It's about shifting my mindset to only buy what I need. I'm not perfect, and I never will say I'm perfect. I still have a list of things I want to buy when I go to the UK for Christmas. But the list is actually not that big. It's actually like candles, because I like having candles on, especially at night after I've cooked. And it's cheaper to buy it at home or in Europe rather than here. Like, it's a third of the price cheaper. So I'm going to wait for that. And plus it'll be Boxing Day sale. So you never know. I might see stuff that I want to buy. But nowadays when I go to sales, I don't find things I like. And I mean, it won't happen overnight. This took weeks, but it's got to that point where I can now walk into shops, see things and genuinely think, I don't need it, and just walk away. It's a bit strange at first, but I've started to feel lighter and more content with what I have. I'm also looking more about my experiences, such as kayaking, which I weirdly liked doing when I went with friends to do it. So I'm going to do it more now that the season is, it's the right temperature to do it here. I've always loved going to the cinema, and going to the cinema is my place to hide. It's my place to switch off my phone, hide from everyone and watch a good movie. So when good movies are coming out, I am going to go see them. And so I'm doing that more than spending on shopping. I'm also going on more holidays. Like I was doing that for the last year because I had a long distance relationship, but now I'm sort of continuing it with friends, and also because I realized that makes me happy. That brings me joy, going to see different countries, experiencing things. And also I'm saving now rather than wasting money. I mean, I am in my 40s, past my mid 40s. I have to think about saving. I have to think about retirement. I can't physically do organizing and decluttering for the rest of my life. So I am thinking about the long term now as well. Now, you might be much, much younger than I am, and you're like, oh, what? I don't need to think about these things. But I wish I had thought about these things in my 20s and 30s. So if you are listening, please start saving now, or start putting into a pension scheme rather than wasting it on stuff from Shein and all these cheap shops that don't last very long. I'm sorry, I sound like I am just talking away and being that annoying person, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be mindful about how I spend. I'm trying to be mindful about how I'm talking to you about my journey. If some of it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine, but this is what I've experienced, and this is how I've changed my mindset. Now, if you want to change your mindset, here are my suggestions on what to do. So start small. I always talk about mini declutter, but do a mini declutter with your spending. So if you buy something like a coffee every day, start reducing it by making coffee at home or buying less each week. If you buy 2 a day, buy 1 and then none. Just start cutting down. In the shops, hold on to the items and then decide if you really need to buy the item in your basket, or if not, put it back. It's not a life or death situation most of the time when you're, especially clothes. Like if you really, really don't love it, if it's not a beautiful piece of, it's not a beautiful piece of art or, just a beautiful piece to wear and you feel comfortable and you love it. If it's not that, then why do you want to wear it? If it's fugly, just put it back. Don't buy it. Don't spend thousands. If it's from Shein, please don't buy it. Like, it's a waste of money. Shein is awful. Also Zara. Zara's overpriced and not great quality now. So I know I say it all the time, but please spend your money on something else. Better. Sorry, I do sound like I'm ranting today. If you're buying a lot from delivery apps, think about whether you can make some simple dishes at home. Or if you can you hire a cook to come in and cook for you every week? And then you put it in the fridge or the freezer and then you warm it up when you need to. There's a lot of those services. I mean, they have it here in Dubai. They have it in India, of course. I'm sure they have it in other countries now as well. Like, you can get a cook to come in or they'll cook the food and send it to you. To do that. If you're really bad at cooking and you can't even cook pasta or eggs or something, do this. Or you can do what I do, is to cheating and getting a roast chicken from the supermarket. Like we have it at Spinneys. The salt and pepper chicken is really good. And you just put it in the fridge and then have it for several days, with different dishes. And then instead of shopping, do experiences. So as I said, I do hiking. I don't do hiking, actually. I do kayaking. But you could go hiking, you could go to cinema, you could go to theatre, you could do things, or go to restaurants with friends, which is what I like doing. And I also like going to supper clubs. So I do that every month as well. So it's not cheap, but it's great because I get to meet new people. I get to meet my friends. I get to eat good food. It's what I love doing. You don't have to feel guilty if you do spend money. It is your money after all, and you've worked hard to earn that money. But think about whether you really, really, really need that item before you pay for it. So I'm going to keep you updated on my journey towards mindful spending in the coming months, and I'm also going to put it up on my social media. Hopefully you find it helpful and maybe even a little bit inspiring. If you do find it helpful and you've started to change your mindset, please let me know. Let me know how you're doing with your journey, what you've done to cut down, because it might inspire me as well to cut down on those things as well. Like any tips you can give and to share to other people would be amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And as always, if you love the episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. I'll catch you next week for another episode. Take care. Bye.